2021 saw record home sales, all-time highs in price appreciation, and record low mortgage interest rates. People were desperately submitting multiple offers well above asking price, pushing the sales prices of homes up tens of thousands of dollars. It was a nightmare for those looking to buy a home. So with the pressure mounting for those who still haven't purchased a house, the big question is, should I buy a house in 2022 or should I wait? Hi, I'm Ty the Real Estate Guy, and if you'd like to stay up to date on the latest real estate tips and trends, subscribe to my channel and ring that little bell. If you have questions or comments at any time during this video, please leave a message below. If you'd like to buy, sell, build a home, or invest in Utah real estate, please feel free to call or text. I would love to talk with you. Okay, so this is the most in-depth video that you'll find on the 2022 housing market. If you're serious about buying or selling a home, you'll want to watch this video to the end, where I'll share the most recent statistics and predictions from some of the top economists, and where I'll share my final analysis for the 2022 housing market. Before we start, I want to apologize to my subscribers for my lack of videos recently. I'm seriously struggling with my work-life balance. I have never been busier as a realtor, and if this is any indication of what next year is going to look like, the housing market, especially in Utah, could be smoking. For those of you that don't know me, I have a proven track record for accurately predicting the housing market. Look below for the link to my video, Should You Buy a House During the Coronavirus Pandemic? I released that video in April of 2020, boldly telling people to buy a house now. I received a lot of backlash at that time because a lot of people, including many top economists, were predicting a housing market crash. If you'd taken my advice and purchased a $350,000 house back in April of 2022, that same home could easily be worth more than $500,000 today. In a year and a half, you could have gained $150,000 in equity. I'm sincere in my quest to give you truth and clarity in these confusing times so you can make the best decision possible when it comes to buying, selling, building a home, or investing in real estate. And I'm so confident in my assessment of the 2022 housing market that I'll stake my reputation as a realtor on the accuracy of this video. Okay, so your question is, should I buy a house in 2022 or should I wait? This is a complicated question and there's not one answer. Why? Because things can vary significantly from location to location and from person to person. There are a few things that you need to personally consider as you decide what to do. Number one, what does the real estate market look like in the city that you're looking to buy a home? The housing market in Salt Lake City, Utah will be very different from Worcester, Connecticut. Metros like Salt Lake City could see explosive growth, while cities like Worcester is likely to have declines. More on this later. You'll need to do some research to gain an understanding of your local market. Number two, what is your personal financial situation? Before you start looking at houses, speak to a lender and see how much home you can afford and what your monthly payment will be. If you want to buy a home and you're not sure what to do or where to start, watch my video, The First Time Buyer To-Do List. I'll put a link to that video below as well.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
In the deepest part of my heart and soul, I believe that buying a home is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your loved ones. So here's my top 10 reasons you should buy a home right now. Number one, buying a house is a great investment. As a matter of fact, it's probably the best investment you'll ever make, and not just for financial reasons, but just like the stock market, home values can increase and decrease. From April 2020 to April 2021, nationwide home values increased nearly 20% in 1 year. So if you had purchased a home for $400,000 in April of 2020, 1 year from that date, it will most likely be valued at more than $480,000. Obviously, this depends on your location. Some cities in Utah saw 30% appreciation during that same time period, pushing a $400,000 home to more than $500,000. How crazy is that? Nationwide, home prices decreased by 33% through the Great Recession, but over the last 10 years, home values are now sitting well above pre-recession levels. These wild swings are not normal. According to the National Association of Realtors, home prices on average increased by 3.7% per year. So in a normal market, the value of a $400,000 home after 1 year would increase by $15,000. After 10 years, that same home could be valued at over $600,000 and maybe more. If you'd stayed in that same house for 30 years, not only would it be paid off, but it would also have appreciated significantly, doubling, tripling, or maybe even quadrupling in value. When home prices have increased for an extended period of time like we've seen in the last decade, you do want to use some caution. But if you're looking to buy a home to live in for the next 7+ years, then you shouldn't worry too much about market corrections. It's more important to make sure that you can make the monthly payment. Yes, home prices fluctuate, but they have always increased over time. It's also important to understand that real estate has proven to be one of the quickest and safest ways to create wealth. And real estate has helped more people become millionaires than any other means of investing. Number 2, rent sucks. You will most likely pay more than $500,000 in rent over a 30-year time period. After 30 years, you'll have nothing to show for it, and you could find yourself paying rent until you die. Paying rent is a lifelong commitment to nothing. I understand that for some people, and at certain times, paying rent does make sense, but it's not a good long-term plan. In today's market, mortgage payments are often less than what you'd pay for rent on a similar sized property. Not only that, the cost of rent can increase each year. In most cases, when you buy a house, your payment will pretty much remain the same, and after 30 years of owning a home, it should be paid off. That means you'll be able to live the rest of your life rent-free, or more specifically, without a monthly mortgage payment. What's bigger than that? Well, a few years ago, the Federal Reserve reported a homeowner's net worth is 40 times greater than that of a renter. After this huge run on housing, I'd say it's a lot higher now. Clearly, home ownership has substantial financial benefits that renters don't receive. For a lot of homeowners, the equity built over 30 years is so great that they're able to sell that house, pay cash for something smaller, and retire on the remaining equity. A lot of people move to more desirable locations or buy a vacation home. When you no longer have a mortgage payment, you'll have the ability to travel when and where you want, buy your dream car, pursue your hobbies, spend more time with family, and things of this nature. Who would you spend more time with? What would you buy? Where would you go? What would you do? There are loads of reasons why owning a home is better than renting. And I've gone in-depth on the subject in another video. If you're currently in a rental, be sure to watch Buy versus Rent. I'll put a link to that video below. Number 3, homeowners get large tax deductions, which in turn makes owning a home less expensive than what your monthly mortgage payment is. In most situations, you can write off your mortgage interest, property taxes, and the mortgage insurance premiums, saving you thousands of dollars per year. Clearly, I'm not a tax specialist. You'll want to speak to an accountant to gain a full understanding of your specific tax advantages. Number 4, when you buy a home, you give yourself and your loved ones stability. Apartments, townhome, and condo communities have high turnover. That makes it hard to build lasting relationships. People tend to live in houses for longer periods of times. So in a neighborhood with single-family homes, you're much more likely to make and keep friends for the long haul. Crime also tends to be lower in these locations. Okay, so these first 4 items explain why you should buy a home in pretty much any market. The next items will help you understand why you should have some urgency today. Number 5, nationwide, we're still experiencing a shortage of housing. In a recent article, CNBC reported that home builders can't make up the difference. 12.3 million households have been formed since January 2012, but only 7 million single-family homes have been built. A recent problem is that single-family home construction has slowed significantly due to supply chain disruptions. This has led many of the nation's largest home builders to lower their guidance on year-end closings. Danielle Hale, Realtor.com's chief economist, said, "The pandemic has certainly exacerbated the U.S. housing shortage, but data shows household formations outpaced new construction long before COVID." Realtor.com reported the U.S. is short 5.24 million homes. an increase of 1.4 million homes from the 2019 gap of 3.84 million. This is not good news for those who still haven't purchased a home. Healthy housing markets have a 3 to 6 month supply of homes, meaning that if no new homes were listed, it would take 3 to 6 months to sell through the available houses. Here in Utah, as well as in many other parts of the country, there's only a 1 to 2 month supply of homes. Simply put, we're in desperate need of more homes. Number 6, COVID-19 and all the mutations. I was really hoping that I wouldn't still be talking about the coronavirus in 2022, but the damn thing keeps mutating. Unfortunately, people are still dying, and the most recent variant is more transmissible, causing real concern that there could be a zombie outbreak, or at least another shutdown. But I think we're figuring out how to deal with it, and I can't imagine that it will have much of an effect on the overall housing market. But that being said, if we have another shutdown, you better believe additional pressure will be put on the housing market, as those living in cramped, high-density housing will look to buy a house where they have more space to entertain themselves and their families. And as building supplies become even more scarce, COVID-19 has adversely impacted the number of homes being listed for sale due to market uncertainty. A lot of people have refinanced their homes, many to rates below 3%, and they decided just to stay put with their new insanely low house payment. Number 7, remote work. Last year, millions of Americans moved to more affordable cities, or to locations that they prefer, because thanks to technology, they now have the ability to work remotely, and they now have gained the freedom to live wherever they please. But this new work from home lifestyle also has people rethinking what type of house they want. A home office, a home gym, and more living space are suddenly high on the priority list. That means a lot of people are also moving up to bigger homes. This will continue to put pressure on the housing market through 2022. Number 8, there are more buyers than sellers. For the last several years, new, or should I say first-time home buyers have been flooding the market. It's the simple economics of supply and demand, and the main reason homes will continue to sell and prices will continue to climb in 2022. A lot of things are happening right now that impact supply, but it all started in 2007 and 2008 when the housing market crashed. Banks were giving loans to people who couldn't afford the monthly payment, and a lot of people were buying homes in speculation. This pushed house prices and mortgage payments to a point of unaffordability. Greedy home builders thoughtlessly constructed too many houses. A lot of home builders went under, and the ones that survived suffered for several years until the market started to slowly turn around in 2012 when the number of buyers finally caught up with the supply of homes. We don't have enough homes today because builders have been underbuilding for a decade now. Adding fuel to the fire, millennials have been pouring into the market in record numbers. Goldman Sachs predicts this will continue through 2023. And to put the cherry on top, 2021 saw huge delays as builders struggled to get the needed materials to build homes. This drastically decreased the rate at which homes could be built and significantly increased the cost to build a home. The lack of supplies and the increasing cost to build will keep supply lower than demand, which means home prices will continue to climb in most areas of the country. Number 9, these insanely low mortgage interest rates. This is probably the number one reason you should buy a home right now, and likely the number one reason home buyers are flooding the market. Because rates are so low, buying a house is often cheaper than paying rent. With mortgage rates still in the low 3% range, many of you can still afford to buy a home, even with prices hitting record highs. As a home buyer, these super low mortgage interest rates significantly increase your buying power. This is the main reason first-time home buyers, investors, and those looking to move up to a bigger home are flooding the market. The urgency for those of you who haven't purchased a home yet is that mortgage rates won't stay this low for long, and there's a good chance we'll never see rates this low again, as rates are expected to increase through 2023. Number 10, inflation. This is one that I really have never talked about, but it's a big one. Inflation is always something to consider, as the cost of goods has always increased over time. Right now, it's anticipated here in the US that we could hit a period of superinflation. The Federal Reserve just raised their inflation expectation, announced that they will double taper rates, and set the expectation for 2 to 3 interest rate hikes in 2022 and in 2023. The Fed now sees inflation running to 5.3% this year, above its previous estimate of 4.2%. What does it all mean? Well, to be honest, I'm worried. The United States government continues to print money at a pace that can't be sustained. The more money they print, the less value the US dollar has. As the US currency loses value, you'll need more dollar bills to purchase things. This will drive the cost of goods, including houses, upwards. The inflation rate in the US has seen its fastest increase in nearly 40 years. Fuel is up 51%, transportation and meat products are among others seeing steep increases. Why am I telling you this? Because homes have proven to be one of the best ways to hedge against inflation. Lawrence Yun is a highly respected economist, and I'm not going to read this entire thing. You can pause if you'd like, but he's predicting mortgage rates will hit 3.7% by end of 2022 from the current 3% rate. And he goes on to explain why real estate is a good hedge against inflation. Here's my final thoughts on the 2022 housing market. In most metros, home prices will increase, but by the end of summer, things will start to slow down due to increasing prices and mortgage rates. Though I should add, homes will continue to sell at a good clip in the hotter housing markets through 2022 and likely into 2023. As long as mortgage interest rates don't hit 4%, people will continue to buy houses. In many markets, home prices will hit a point to where they're just too expensive, and that will stabilize those areas. If you live in a location where home prices are decreasing, remember that the best time to buy a home is often in a declining market. If you keep your eyes open, there will be opportunities for you to buy a home at a hefty discount and take advantage of these incredible mortgage rates. Once again, increasing rates should be taken into consideration because a 3 to 5% drop in home prices won't make up for a 1% increase in mortgage rates. This is why I recommend that if you're in a financial position, you should buy a house, and the sooner the better. Home prices will continue to climb, especially in the spring. Waiting a month or two could easily cost you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. If you're a first-time home buyer, you could quickly be priced out of this market. This will leave you with limited options, like buying a smaller or older home, or you may be forced to purchase a condo or a townhome. Or even worse, you could get stuck paying rent. Even if home prices stall out where you live, increasing mortgage rates will continue to make housing less and less affordable. Most housing markets will start to heat up again early in 2022, so those who buy a house right now will get it for less and lock in a lower mortgage rate. So I do not recommend waiting at this time, and I want to be clear, the housing market will not crash in 2022. Okay, so as promised, here's the most recent statistics and predictions. These first two graphics from the National Association of Realtors will give you a good idea of what the market is like in your state. You can see where demand is high and where it's low. Keep in mind, there can be hot and cold pockets within each state. This next graphic shows how each state is doing with its supply of available homes for sale. Keep in mind that even if supply is high in your state, you could still be in a hot market in your city. The Burns Affordability Index shows which markets are overpriced and which ones are still affordable. At the top of the list, you'll see locations that are the most expensive, and as you go down the list, the metros become more and more reasonably priced. By looking at this graphic, it would appear that California could be one of the first markets to cool off. In this graphic, Realtor.com shows what they expect to be the hottest markets in the US. Number 1 is my turf, Salt Lake City. I'm not surprised, as Utah is consistently among the top states in unemployment, job growth, and population growth. Here's the CoreLogic Home Price Index showing how much homes have appreciated year over year. If you purchased a home in one of these locations over the last year or so, you hit the jackpot. Congratulations. But it can't be sunshine and roses all the time. Home prices are expected to fall in some metros. CoreLogic Market Risk Indicator shows 5 locations where you might see price reductions in the near future. I'm going to move through the next few graphs fast, so once again, hit the pause button if you need a little more time. This graph shows the US home price growth. Zillow and Goldman Sachs are on the high end of the spectrum, predicting home prices will increase by more than 13%. In this graph, you can see that Redfin and CoreLogic see price growth falling below historic averages. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are predicting U.S. home prices growth to be closer to 7 or 8%. The report goes on to say that if a borrower took on a $500,000 mortgage at 3.1%, the monthly mortgage payment would be $2,135. But if rates jump to 3.6%, your payment would rise to $2,273, or nearly an additional $50,000 over 30 years for the same house. Just to confuse you more, the Mortgage Banker Association is predicting that the median price of existing homes will decrease 2.5% over the next year. Why so bearish? Well, they're predicting a 4% mortgage rate, which is exactly what I've been saying for over a year now. If rates hit 4%, the ride is over. A 4% rate would add an additional $90,000 in cost to a $500,000 fixed 30-year loan. It's shocking how significant the predictions vary from each one of the different economists and housing market specialists. This makes it difficult for the average person to know what to do. This is why you need to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to be notified each time I post new videos. I'm working hard to keep you up to date as things happen to guide you through the process of buying, selling, or building a home. Okay, so this last graphic shows the cost to buy a home in 2021 versus 2022. It's important to understand how much your monthly mortgage payment could increase by waiting to buy a house based on the current trends and predictions. By waiting, you could end up paying an additional $200 per month, and if your mortgage rate increases above 3.7%, your monthly mortgage payment could be even higher. Well, hopefully I've helped you understand what's happening in the US housing market and what is expected to happen over the next year or so. If you're planning to move to Utah, or you already live here and you're looking to buy, sell, build a home, or invest in real estate, I would love to talk with you. Please feel free to contact me directly. For those of you who are wondering, where should I move next? I'm telling you, this is the place. If you have questions, please help the community by commenting below. Sincerely, I want to hear from you. If you know someone who's thinking about buying a home or moving to Utah, please share this video with them. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and ring the bell to be notified each time I post new videos. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty, the Real Estate Guy. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to ring that little bell below. It'll make you feel good.